Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sprint 231 review. This was a normal 2-week sprint. Let's get started. I'll start with the overview, Gilbert on the UI, Adam on providers, and Joe on the platform. This sprint, we had a lot of PRs merged, 150 PRs merged. A huge chunk of them were upgrading to Ruby 3.1, so it was a blast out of PRs to all of the repositories. And there was a number of technical debt PRs that were made. Joe will probably cover most of those on his slides. And over to Gilbert for the UI.
All right, so these are all the UI pairs made in the sprint. We had 3 bug fixes, 6 enhancements, 2 technical debts, and then 5 others. So the first PR was to update this form so that the hostname, subnet mask, and gateway fields would become non-editable and only readable when DHCP is selected. The next PR fixed a bug where the number of nodes per CPU cores chart was not rendering even though the data was available. Next slide. This PR simply fixed a bunch of typos in some of the comments in some of the function names we have in the code. This function beautified the notification drawer, so it was just CSS changes to make it more aligned and even on the page. This was a direct to Morphe PR that fixed various issues with the font icons and links. This was a PR made to convert the button summary page from Haml to React. Next slide. This was a PR that fixed a bunch of typos in various comments we had in the Ansible playbook catalog form. This PR fixed toast wrapper style. So I believe Jeffrey did this PR to fix various styling issues with the toast wrapper. This function dropped the include concern. So basically, instead of just having include concern, we just change over to include. This function, again, just fixed a bunch of typos in the data table component file. And then we had various other PRs, such as simplifying regex to remove right-side zeros, a direct to Morphe PR to remove unnecessary regex, refactoring the chargeback rate Cypress test, testing with Ruby 3.1 and 3.0, and then fixing the Cypress README and comments file. And that's it for the UI. Next, Adam.
Thanks, Gilbert. For providers this sprint, NASA refactored the inventory syndication code in order to support streaming refresh providers which don't use the base manager refresher class. And so the Kubernetes and VMware providers are now able to syndicate inventory like the rest of the providers were. We also fixed a bug with VMs not being able to be deleted because they had some advanced settings which were marked as read-only. We removed the validation to prevent advanced settings from being deleted if they're marked read-only, since that's not applicable to this model. For Amazon, we added the new, I think it's Calgary, the Canada West region, and updated the list of flavors, which include the new Mac M2 instance type, which is nice. The AWS Ansible Tower providers, we added support features for update and delete to the AWS credentials type. This will be used later on in the API. Next slide. For IBM Cloud, Jay added the Brazil and Madrid VPC regions. For OpenStack, we we deleted an unused worker runner class. The metrics worker for the network manager was deleted a while ago, but the runner was still present, so we were able to delete that without any adverse side effects. For VMware, we fixed a bug with the host web services authentication not being recognized for smart state analysis. This is a result of some refactoring in the form, and we're now using the default authentication type instead of web services. And finally, for the flow gem, we had a watch method to the workflow runner so that we can get event-driven updates from all of the runtime Docker runners. So Kubernetes, Docker, and Podman all have the ability to return events as things occur. And so we're able to respond to pods finishing dramatically faster than we were before. That is it for providers. Over to Joe.
Thanks, Adam. For platform enhancements and improvements to Sprint, starting with moving to UBI 9 and EL9, Brandon updated the CI for building the container images in the container repositories. He changed it to switch to using the EL branches and not master. He also fixed CI to push the correct image tags to include the OS version. And finally, he upgraded the operator and rep manager for use with UBI 9 and EL9. Next, Keenan added support for using numeric values in environment variables in Awesome Spawn by converting them to strings. Next, for repositories that hadn't previously tested with Ruby 3.1, we added Ruby 3.1 to the test matrix. And we had a few Rails 7 backward compatible changes to Sprint, such as dropping usage of included concern and required nested, since Zeitwerk handles this for us. Next slide. We now explicitly require Psych 3.1 since we assert that safe load accepts keyword arguments, and 3.1 is the first version that added keyword arguments to safe load. Next, Keenan updated the authentications to support update and delete, and Keenan dropped usage of unsupported reason add in favor of just returning strings from VM supports. And I think Keenan will discuss the next two API changes. Next slide. For platform bugs, Jason fixed a possible security weakness in a provisioning dialog. Jason also bumped the Awesome Spawn minimum version to 1.6 and Appliance Console to 8.10. And Brandon updated the pod's Go version to 1.22. Brandon also fixed an issue in the operator by handling passwords containing all numbers. Keenan fixed test failures in Awesome Spawn and Linux admin. Nassar moved the inventory syndication up to a common location shared by all providers, the persister. And Adam dropped the read-only mixin from advanced settings as it's not needed and prevented objects from being destroyed. Next slide, on to Keenan for the rest.
Cool. So Adam had introduced Open API specification for our API. And also we got another change from Adam that he had refactored authentication, create, update, and delete. It was custom code and he went towards a standard. Include concern from Joe made it over to this repo along with probably all of them as part of the Rails 7 effort. And then also as part of the Ruby effort, Joe had added tests to the test matrix here. On to Jason.
All right, and that's it for our Sprint 231 review. Our next Sprint review, 232, will be on March 6th at the usual place and time. And I'd like to thank all our presenters today, all the contributors to Manage IQ, and the entire community and all their discussions. Thanks, everyone.